Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. We have got two easy and delicious crockpot recipes for you guys in today's video. I really hope you enjoy. Let's go ahead and get into it. We are going to do some Parmesan meatballs in the slow cooker today. I've got 3 pounds of hamburger meat. I will have this recipe linked down below. The recipe down below is per pound of hamburger meat. So I am doing 3 pounds, so I'm going to be adding more ingredients, but just check the description box and y'all can see the measurements for a single pound. I'm just going to add everything in and then we'll get it mixed up. You're gonna need some eggs, some breadcrumbs, some Parmesan cheese, some salt, some pepper, some basil, garlic powder, some oregano, and then you will need some garlic, minced garlic. And then we're just going to mix all of this up till well combined, and we will form out our meatballs. So I got them all rolled up, ready to go. So I've done this 2 ways. I have cooked them all raw, from raw, in my crock pot with the sauce. And I've also seared them, or like baked them in the oven for a little bit just to render off some of the fat. Both ways you can do, either way. You can sear them off and then put them in here and pour your sauce on, or you can put them in here like this, start them off raw, and just add in your sauce and let them cook. When you do them this way, you will have to kind of like skim off some of the fat that's on the top, but I'm totally fine with that. Y'all know me, if it's easy, I'm gonna do it. If I could skip a step, I will do it. So I've got my meatballs in here. I'm just going to cover them with 1 jar of sauce. I'm just gonna start off with 1, because since you will have to render off some of that fat at the end, I only use 1 jar, and then when we come back, I render off the fat, and then I will add in my other jar if needed. So that will just depend on how much, what percentage your meat is and how much fat it's gonna have. We'll just determine that. So put the lid on it, let it cook on low for about 6 to 8 hours. You just want the meatballs to be cooked through. I'm just checking the thermometer, and temperature is 155 when they are done. So we're gonna let these cook up, and we'll come back later. So they have been on about 7 hours right now. As you can see, all of that grease that I was talking about, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to skim this off. Now, like I said at the beginning when I was putting all this together, if you don't want to have to do that, then you can just cook your meatballs beforehand, put them in here and add your sauce. But I really like the texture and the taste that it gives when you cook them in here from raw, because the sauce really soaks into the meatballs. They're really juicy and tender, and I really like them. So I'm totally fine with, you know, me skimming all this off. So let's do that, and then I will show you what to do next. So here's what I've done. I've strained out all the meatballs and put them in this bowl. Here's what's left in the bottom of my slow cooker. And then here's the grease, and I took a little bit of this out, but I tried to get just the grease. But what I like to do when I'm doing meat for meatball subs is I like to take a lot of this out, and then we're just going to put a new jar of pasta sauce on top, because a lot of this, it's really good flavor, but it does have a lot of grease in it. So I did try to take some of that out, just so my meatballs on the sub buns aren't going to be greasy and oily. If I was doing these with, like, serving these over pasta or serving these over mashed potatoes, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. But like, as you can see, all the grease. So I just tried to strain it out, but these have such good flavor. They're delicious. So I'm going to take and add these back into my crock pot, and then we will dump that other jar of sauce on top. And then I'm just gonna let these finish cooking on low till it is time to eat dinner. They're completely cooked. You just want them to still marry in that new jar sauce. Here they are when they are all done. These are definitely a family favorite. Winston absolutely loves meatball subs. He was super excited for dinner this night. Next up is beef stew. It had been a while since I made beef stew, but I picked up a pack of stew meat at Sam's Club, and I decided to cook up some Sunday lunch.
for everybody. So we had a, when I say everybody, it's about, let's see, there's like 10, I think 10 of us for everybody when I say that. So I wasn't sure if one pot of beef stew was going to do it. So I ended up doing one beef stew and one chicken stew. They both were delicious. I followed a recipe from Pinterest, and I did the same recipe for the chicken, so I didn't film the chicken one, but I just, put in chicken breast instead of beef stew. And it did end up cooking for a good 10 hours, but this was delicious. I set my alarm for 1 a.m. to get up and put it on, so that way it was done for lunch after church on Sunday. But I highly recommend this recipe. I will have it linked down below for you guys. It was super easy just to throw everything together and just let it do its thing. The meat was super tender, and I highly recommend this recipe. So I left church a little early, so I was able to head home and get the stew finished. I just needed to pull out the bay leaves. As you know, those aren't good to crunch on, so I missed a couple. Luckily, nobody actually found them and bid on them, but as you've seen, I'm just trying to search through and find them. But once you get those out, I just took and made a cornstarch slurry, which a cornstarch slurry is just equal parts water and cornstarch. You just mix it up and then add it into any sauce or soup or stew or whatever, just to thicken it up, just to help get a thicker consistency. I just add a little bit at a time until I get the consistency that I want. And like I said, I did this for both. I did it for the beef and I did it for the chicken. I didn't film the chicken just because I literally did the same exact recipe. I just used chicken breast and chicken broth instead of, the beef stew and the beef broth. But both of these were super delicious, very flavorful, and it was so easy just to be able to literally chop all your veggies, dump everything in, cook it all night, and have a nice hearty lunch on a Sunday. Really, really delicious. So y'all, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. 2 super easy and delicious crockpot recipes. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.